here's our overview of our final project that we had to do for Intro to Computer Programming. And our first file that we're going to look at is main. In this game is a text-based fighting game that has roguelike elements. So in main we have our code, which I did some of this, like this I did, but this was mostly David's work, as I did work on loading levels and engaging the fight function, and he did most of that work over there. So, well, we first call a menu, which I can show you if I just open this menu right here. And then when we call that menu, depending on what we say, we will either start the game, open the scores, or just outright quit the program. And so when we start the game, it opens up load level, which we have this, which is pretty simple. It engages an encounter at 1, so the encounter will load up the first level's encounter, and then so on and so forth as we beat the levels throughout the game. I wrote this program. It was relatively easy. And then so that will load up our first level, and most of the levels are basically the same. We just copy and pasted and then changed stats to make it more difficult. And I'll just give you a base overview of what the level will do. So it will load up the first function, which initializes stats of the enemy, and then it will use a function for the dictionary, which will clear the entire dictionary and then write stats to that dictionary, which is our health, the enemy, and then the max damage that it can do. And then it will print that we have encountered said enemy, and it will load the fight program, which I wrote the load fight part of it and the health pots part of it, but we'll get to that later. And then it will, after the fight is either done, you come back here and it will drop a random health pot amount of health pots, or you die and it will bring you back to the menu. And then it will add these health pots to user info, which has the user stats, and it will print how many health pots did drop, and then it will load the next function, which is the next enemy. And it does that for each level, basically the same, and I changed about some values for how many health pots would be dropped, because it gets harder, so you need more health pots to beat the game. And it will do almost everything the same, and the stats will be obviously different. And then, so what the level will do, we'll load up the fight program, and this is the main thing of our game, which is the fighting. And David wrote most of this, besides a bit of editing later as we got through the game, which was done by me and him together. And I did write the health pot function, which was easy. And so what happens is when you fight an enemy, it will do load fight, which will load up the class and then load up the battle. And in the battle, it will give you a menu for attacking, and it will try to see if you entered an int, and if you don't, it will try again. And then, depending on what you entered, it will go to different functions within. And it's a basic attack function, and we declare our attack, the player's attack, which will always be 0 through 40, and then we'll declare the enemy's health, and then minus that from this, and then it will print how much damage you've done, and if it's dead, it will print is dead, and if it's not, it will print the amount of health it has left. And then to stop it from attacking, from the enemy attacking when it was dead, because we had this up here, we just moved it down here, and then it will engage, and then it will see if you die on that turn. And if you don't, it will print your health is, else, and if the enemy's health is more than 0, it will just print that you've killed, and then it will finally print your last health, so you know what your health is before fighting the next one. And then in the dodge, it will see if you can dodge, and then it will do some damage to the enemy on certain occasions, and sometimes you don't dodge. And then the health pots is easy. If health pots are greater than, and we pass health pots, which is up here, which passes in user stats health pots. And it will see if you have more, less, well, if you have 0, then it will say no health pots and you can't use it. And if else, you just use the health pots, adds 10 health to you, and it'll print how much health pots you have left. And well, that's really all. There's not much in the other stuff, other files, and this is just the enemy file, which is just a blank dictionary that we pass stuff into. And then user info, and that just has base stats, and we pass a name to it also. And then we also have a function for finding high score, which is just how fast you did it. And yep, well, I would say that's our code, and it was pretty enjoyable to write this. And well, that's our code.